Viagra Boys are a Swedish post-punk band harnessing the powers of bombastic rock and a culture of chaos. Intrigued by drugs, emotions and male privilege, Viagra Boys articulate their attitude in a punishing approach to music. You're tuned into Roots to Grooves.
All dressed up in latex, one red light bulb hanging from the ceiling, and a lifeboat standing on a small chair in the middle of the room. Now how you gonna explain that, man? The secret's out, you've been living a lie. How you gonna explain your nasty sex life to your wife? How you gonna explain that, man? Now what you gonna do when you come home? Then you crawl up to the bedside with tears in your eyes. Say, baby, take me back. I'm sorry, I'm not like that. I'm not like those other guys. I mean, I was just trying something new.
Welcome, guys. I'm Jesse. Sitting across from me is Jay Purcell, founder of Signl Radio.
Signl of Thunder Under.
The Signal of Thunder Down Under.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm saying, but you know it's Roots to Grooves if it's Jesse and Jay. We're talking about music here. We're talking about mindset. We're talking about achieving goals. Who are we talking about today, Jay?
Viagra Boys.
The Boys of Viagra.
Swedish band.
Stockholm?
From Stockholm, based in Stockholm. They are post-punk, garage punk, raw, energy, rock. Just real good stuff. And not heavy. A lot of driving music, like we just heard in that track there.
Yeah, driving and energetic.
Yeah.
But not necessarily like heavy,
Right.
like big thematic heavy metal music. You
No,
know, not
yeah.
like anything like that.
Yeah.
But it is noisy. It is chaotic.
Yeah.
It is post-punky, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, grimy, messy.
Yeah.
These guys really know how to make noise.
Yeah.
And it is musical.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it is very grungy and grimy.
Yeah.
They have kind of like a scumbag aesthetic.
Aesthetic, yeah. Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
they got tats.
So that tattoos, sunglasses, and
They got beards, sunglasses.
face tattoos as well. The main guy does, yeah.
So how close would you say these guys resemble a band like Idols?
I think a lot, yeah. I didn't really think about it until I started diving back in again today to their music. I was like, it's like real parallels, especially lyrically, which we can talk about a bit later as well. I think, and
for sure.
Thematically, yeah.
And I think they both have their own kind of niche.
Yeah.
Within this category of noisy post-punk music and rock.
Yeah, yeah.
But Viagra Boys they certainly have their own brand of that.
Yeah,
and they're doing a really good job.
Definitely, yeah.
So like hard rock grooves, minimalist melodies, discordant guitars, and they have saxophone.
Saxophone
Added a
in there,
sax.
yeah. No keys though, and no backing vocals, right? Like maybe some of the other guys just sort of kind of emphasize certain
Like get those gang vocals and yell a couple words or something.
Yeah. But for the most part, guitar, rock, bit of sax thrown in there.
Bass,
as well.
drums, rock.
Yeah.
Guitar, vocals, yelling.
Yeah.
But yeah, they also kind of use black humor and satire.
Yeah.
Some of their music's kind of tongue in cheek with, especially the lyrics, I guess, because the music is what it is, and
Right.
kind of in your face,
Yeah.
noisy rock.
Yeah.
And it's good. But they do have a little humor, as we'll see as we go listen to some more of this music.
Yeah.
That was a good, awesome, energetic track.
Yeah.
The
We open with Down in the Basement, by the way, people, from their debut album, Street Worms. I hope you understand what I say when I say worms in my accent.
no.
Worms. Sorry.
No, I think most people understand you. I always give you a hard time about it's artists, not artists.
Yeah.
Or that's my fault.
I'm very autistic.
Yeah.
Artistic.
Yeah, I love to make music.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So the two main guys, as far as I saw, there's two main guys or three main guys. And I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but I got Henry Hawkert.
Yeah.
Or Hokert. Is that Hokert?
I would say so, yeah.
I think he has the O with the two little dots on top.
Yeah.
So if that's Hokert.
Founding member, bass guitar.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then we got Sebastian Murphy.
Yep. Vocals, founding member as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then would you say there was one more, like Oscar Karts? Because I saw one interview where there was three guys, but at other places I saw it was mainly those two guys.
Well, so the other members, I'm not going to get this guy's last name correctly, the drummer, Tor. I'm just going to call him Tor. I really can't. There's too many accents on his last name. Soden. It's like Sjoden with lots of accents and all those letters. Yeah, Soden. Yeah, Oscar Carls is the saxophonist.
Okay.
He's only been there from later.
He was added
after they founded. Elias Jonkvist keyboards. So there is keyboards, but I'm not really hearing it in the tracks.
But again, I think they added that later on.
A lot later on, I think it looks like. And they do have three other past members. The most one we'll mention right now is Benjamin Valley, original guitarist, founding member. He sadly passed away in 2021. He did actually leave the band before he passed away, though. But there was no cause of death given. He was also like 47 years old, so I thought these guys were like pretty young, but not too much. But
way too young to pass away.
Still way too young to pass away. Yeah.
That's a bummer. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a little bit of a bummer, but hopefully everyone's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, Viagra Boys formed in 2015.
Yes.
So pretty recently.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. In the last 7 years.
Yeah.
2015 only seems like 2 or 3 years ago, but it's 7 years ago.
Man, yeah. Time is flying away. We lost those like 2 or 3 years back there.
Yeah.
I still kind of feel like I'm losing them.
I know.
Clawing back into society.
The time shift never stopped, and we're at a rapid pace now.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got a lot of catching up to do. But yeah, so fairly new band, really cool energy, really good vibe. Seems like they got their head in the right spot.
Yeah.
Seemed like some cool dudes making really good music. That's, it's just, it always interests me how like noisy and chaotic the music is, but people really respond to it.
Yeah.
Even if I don't respond to some of this personally,
Yeah.
Some of it's a little bit too noisy and chaotic for me, but some of these tracks I really like that first track.
Yeah.
This type of band for me personally is I really like some of the stuff, and then maybe I just more apathetic towards some of the other stuff.
Would you the same about Idols maybe? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
Just generally. I'm not going to talk about song by song in this thing I'm talking about right now, but just I'm done talking. That's all.
Yeah, for me it's just like a vibe. Like if I want to like, you know, listen to some like
If you're in that vibe,
driving kind of like rock music, then for me the two most recent artists that are doing that for me are Viagra Boys and Idols.
Mm-hmm.
But even like the first album from The Strokes,
oh yeah,
like how fast some of those tracks were.
Yeah.
Like, and the first Arctic Monkeys album as well.
yeah,
But like that for me, like these are just vibes that like if I want to go into like that realm of listening to things, I feel like pretty dependable with these artists.
yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah.
Like they certainly bring the energy.
Yeah.
And it's unmatched.
Yeah.
I can't imagine going to a live show, Viagra Boys or Idols. But we're focusing on Viagra Boys.
Well, I'll tell you a little bit about a live show experience.
You seen Viagra Boys?
Yeah.
Where?
After this song, I'll tell you.
All right.
Sports.
Baseball, basketball,
Sports by Viagra Boys off of their debut album Streetworms, here on Roots to Grooves with me, Jay Purcell, and you, Jesse Quigley.
Hey, that's me. Yeah. So I mean, that's an example of the type of track that I love.
Yeah, to me it's like heavy, but it's not like, it's kind of slow paced. You know, it's not really.
No, I'm trying to find a better way to
Yeah.
describe what you're saying, because I totally see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because it's heavy energy, but not necessarily heavy genre of music, like genre context.
Not like heavy metal or screaming. He doesn't really scream.
He yells.
He yells.
It's not like a heavy metal scream, but he's certainly yelling and you know, I mean, very like guttural.
Yeah.
You know, almost kind of like, I don't know, tribal, guttural yelling.
Yeah.
But obviously distorted, crunchy guitars. And bass. But it's not super heavy.
No.
So I think we explained that enough. I hope everyone gets. I need to learn more words so I can describe more things.
Expand that vocabulary. If you have more descriptive words for us to use, we'll give you the email at the end of the episode.
How would you describe that song? How would you describe sports?
Yeah.
Let
There's
us know.
a funny video for that as well. I think he's on a tennis court when he's just got his top off with all his tattoos, his sunglasses on, and he's just singing into a microphone in the middle of the tennis court as they're playing tennis around him.
That's the music video?
Yeah. It's hilarious. Some of the videos are pretty funny. But yeah, I'd never heard of them before.
Nor have I.
Until a friend of mine was getting a group of people together. It's like, do you want to go to Portland and go see Viagra Boys? And I was like, slow. First of all, what are you talking about? No, I was like, I never heard of them. So they organized a whole trip. There was like 5 of us or more that went down there. Shahan was supposed to come with us, of Shahan fame, if people don't know. Solo artist. He's been releasing music recently. Friend of Signl. We used to be playing in the band with him. But yeah, so all of us went down there, and I'd sort of just looked up, you know, before I went there. I was like, I'm always down for a trip to see music, but I was like, well, who are these guys? And I saw some videos, and I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. So it was at some venue in Portland. We'd spent the day like drinking and bar hopping before the show at like 11 p.m. or something like that. And it was just, it was like, in my memory, it was big stage, all of them on there, like 7 people on stage, and they were just like grinding the music. They were like all wearing sunglasses, and there was a mosh pit. Like I got a beer from the bar in a plastic cup, and I walked up to the front of the bar, and then like to the front of the stage, and like 2 minutes later, all of my beer had gone. It had been like splashed
Just
all
sloshing.
over me.
People are wearing it.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I shouldn't be drinking a beer in a mosh pit. That's not going to work out very well.
Fair enough.
So all the crowd was like very like, moshing away and like grabbing onto each other and all that. Whereas on stage, and I think they've described it later, is they don't actually move at all on stage. They're not really going crazy. They're just kind of like still and doing this music. And I think I heard them say at a certain point, it's because they're trying to put all of the energy into the music itself instead of like acting out or whatever on stage.
Right.
Sort of thing.
And like you said, I think they do a good job of that, recreating what's on the album to communicate that energy and to recreate that energy in a live setting.
Yeah.
It is kind of interesting to see how wild and chaotic this music is.
Yeah.
And at the same time, they say like, oh, we're just going to do our thing on stage and not
Right.
scream, not jump. So I don't know, just really wild energy, but they really want to deliver that in the right way.
Yeah.
So cool.
Which they succeed in.
I bet that was a really cool show.
Yeah, it was cool, and it wasn't like a massive venue. It was like I forget the name of the venue, but Portland has quite a few good venues, and I think this is like one of the leading sort of indie venues.
Nice.
It was a good show, and I think that was 2017 maybe. So not too long after their first album came out.
Yeah.
But
to see him from Stockholm, they're coming from, 2 years is not a lot of time to, some people don't even come out with their first album within 2 years of starting their band.
No.
And these guys have made it outside of the country to a show, to a venue near you.
Yeah. Well, there is the American link. So despite being a fully Swedish band, the lead singer, Sebastian Murphy, is actually American. Born and raised in San Francisco, moved to Sweden when he was like 17 years old, I think he said, in 2007. And it was there. I think he like got into music through his dad's record collection. He said his dad was like a big vinyl record collector,
Right.
and it was the Sex Pistols album, Nevermind the Bollocks, that first got him into music. There was also like a compilation album of Joy Division EPs, he said, and it was like those two things that really got him into music, kind of thing.
Very cool.
He said he described himself as an angry, pissed off teenager. He just wanted to like smoke weed and drink all day and party, kind of thing.
Isn't that what we all want to do? That's what I do.
I guess. That angry
But angry.
teenager, yeah. I don't really hear about anything else that went on in his life for that. His dad's American, his mum is Swedish. So I think he moved with his family over to Sweden when he was a teenager.
Okay.
Like late teenager, 17. But up until that point, he'd been in San Francisco, yeah, growing up there.
So do people, question for me,
Yeah.
do people in Stockholm speak English
Yes.
straight up?
Yeah. I think you'll find, a lot of places in Europe speak English as a second language, like especially I've experienced, especially like in sort of international cities like Amsterdam, because there's so many people that come from all over the world to be there that English is like the default communal language for everyone, sort of thing.
I think it really is. I think like actually it is.
Yeah.
It's like the world language or whatever.
It is, yeah. It's funny. I see some like YouTube videos of like this Chinese guy that is like leading the channel, and he's in like the Middle East talking to people, and they're all obviously speaking English because you wouldn't expect, Hindi speakers to speak, Japanese or vice versa or whatever. Like,
Right. I'm glad to know my one language is the world language.
We're kind of lucky in that respect, I think.
Yeah. Because I certainly know, un poquito of other languages.
Yeah, I barely, I sort of understand. If I was to understand more of a second language, it's French. But still,
bonjour.
Oui, merci. Beaucoup.
Look at us.
Yeah.
World travelers.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I've never traveled. Let's go. Okay.
Never traveled.
I mean, I've traveled a little bit. Not that much, though. This isn't a travel podcast. Viagra Boys formed in 2015.
Yeah.
No, I'm not sure if we already went into that, but that's not very long ago.
Yeah.
So, I don't have anything else really on their early stuff, but most of my research, besides the stuff that you'd already mentioned, is kind of starting at 2015.
Yeah. And it was around that time, or maybe, around that time that Sebastian and Henrik, the bass player, I think, met through a mutual friend. And they were the first two members to meet, I think.
Yeah. What I have is that they were out drinking.
Right. Yeah.
So they ended up at a karaoke bar.
Yeah.
And after Murphy did a version of Mariah Carey's "We Belong Together," and after that, Hokert decided they should form a band. I guess based off that performance, just inspired him.
Yeah, like he heard this guy could sing, and it was interesting. And Henrik was already had been in other bands, and I think all the other members had been in other bands as well, which is how Henrik like knew a few people, and someone knows someone else, and that's kind of how the band kind of grew and got to be. I think was mutual like acquaintances, and I think I have a list here of some of the unusual band names that a lot of the other members were in.
Okay.
Big Bird, but Bird spelt B-Y-R-D, Big Bird.
Okay.
Pig Eyes was another band. Nine. Nitad or Nitad, N-I-T-A-D. Not sure how to pronounce that.
Interesting.
And Neurons, N-E-U-R-O-N-Z. These are just a few of the other bands that the other members were in and left to come and be in Viagra Boys.
They're kind of in the same scene in Stockholm.
Yeah.
Similar-ish types of music.
I'm not sure for sure. I don't know. I'm going to say definitely probably a lot of rock music. I don't think that we're really doing anything outside of that. These groups could be wrong. Correct us if you're in one of these bands still today. I don't know if these bands continued after these members left.
I hope so.
Yeah. But
I think it is pretty cool. They're like, let's start a band. We have a singer and a bass guitar.
Yeah, exactly.
We're a band.
So you need.
We just need a couple more things, like a drummer and a guitarist.
Yeah.
A couple big items, but
we need a saxophone and we need a keyboard.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Hey, it worked out for them.
Yeah.
However it works. There's no one way to form a band. It's always a little bit of a weird story, I think.
Yeah.
Which is cool. So they recruited Benjamin Valle.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pronounce this correctly. Valle.
Yeah.
Valley.
Yeah.
And he'd previously worked with Hoker in Nitad.
Right.
And
Okay.
that's one of the bands you mentioned, right?
Nitad, yeah.
Or Nitad,
yeah.
And then the addition of the drummer Sol Tor Stjodin. And the core of the group was completed, and they began writing songs.
Yeah, and I think they're just jamming, right? Just the musicians were coming together, jamming, coming up with these tracks, and then Sebastian would write the lyrics and do his thing on top of it. And it's interesting because Sebastian, when you hear him talk and interviewed, he has like this kind of, and he's admitted it himself as well, he has this kind of fucked up European accent because he's like American, grew up in America for like 17 years of his life, and now he has that sort of a European twang to it. Like when I first heard him speak, he just sounded like a Swedish guy that was speaking English.
Right.
And then just listening to his vocals on some of these recordings, he's like putting on like another accent almost as well, like more of a, like in that last track we played, Sports, sounds a little bit like Iggy Pop, who I think is one of his influences as well.
Okay.
The Stooges, like that kind of, Iggy Pop was always just kind of like really slow, drony talking almost on all of their tracks, right?
Right. Almost like a Lou Reed.
Yeah.
Type of like spoken singing.
Yeah. Which I actually like. I don't. Some people might not like that stuff, but I really like Lou Reed and Iggy Pop and like Iggy Pop's recent stuff. Otherwise, we haven't mentioned a movie for a movie night for a while, but there's a documentary. I forget the name of the group, but it's out there on Amazon, I think. It's Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age, Iggy Pop, the drummer from Arctic Monkeys, and one other guy. I'm not sure the other band the other guy's from, but they all got together to write and record one album, and there's a documentary they made about it as well.
Oh, nice. So, kind of like a super group type thing.
Yeah, I came across it the other day. I was like, I gotta check that out.
Yeah, that sounds dope.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I heard some tracks back in the day when the album came out. It's really good. Right?
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'll have to give that a listen. That sounds interesting.
Yeah. So and then they Viagra Boys get this first EP together, right?
Consistency of Energy.
Yeah.
2016, just a year after they formed, which is pretty impressive. Good for them.
Yeah. And it's a cool EP. It's 4 tracks, 20 minutes long. Already out of the gate, sounding like Viagra Boys. I feel like.
Yeah, that's like, a significant point. Yeah.
After having not listened to it until this show, I hadn't heard it before, and it's like you can tell it's early them, but you can tell it's them. Like,
100%.
Yeah.
It's a great way to say it.
Yeah.
So it's very good. Like you said, I don't know. We don't need to describe the sound that much more because they came out right out of the gate as Viagra Boys. Yeah. With the bombastic energy and the, just the rough energy, the chaos. Yeah. And the good vibes, though, tucked in within that stuff. Yeah. So, are we gonna play a track off this? We already did.
We haven't yet, but yeah, we're gonna.
Oh, we're doing it right now then.
Research Chemicals. Research Chemicals off of Viagra Boys' first release, an EP called Consistency of Energy. Came out in, when we'd say, 2016?
Yep.
Yeah.
Bada bing.
Yeah, I don't know. Just put that on, stomp around in your backyard, barefoot with a bunch of beers. That's what
That sounds good.
just to me, it just sounds like one of those ones where it's so drony and like, you know, that meditative beat kind of in a way. Like, I think that's one of the good things about this group for me is that, and maybe that's why I like to put this type of music on sometimes. Is because it's kind of like a meditation.
No, 100%.
Sort of thing. Like, yeah.
Kind of just like, it's kind of drony.
Yeah.
Like, especially at the end of that track there, it's just kind of on loop.
Yeah.
And just kind of, it's almost just like orienting a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
But it could have the opposite effect and kind of help you like focus, I guess. Yeah. So I don't know, kind of weird, but very cool what they're able to accomplish with these techniques in music.
Yeah, yeah.
So I like when they can do, a band can do like specific finessed things with this wild chaos energy of the music.
Yeah.
You know, like they could still affect you on like a esoteric level in your mind.
Yeah.
But they're still being like just wild and energetic.
Yeah.
So it's cool how those energies can synergize together.
Yeah. Because I feel like also it's not random chaos. It's like it's controlled chaos.
Yeah.
Like,
Focused chaos.
Like listening to it, like it feels like to me they have very specific arrangements and parts, and they're super tight and locked in, and they just stick to that. Like to me, that's what it sounds like. And I feel like you can only really do that music in that way. I mean, that's the weird thing about I think all of this rock music that maybe most musicians or casual listeners won't understand when they listen to like grunge music or rock music. They think, oh, it's just noise, it's just chaos. It's like, no, it's actually very like methodically plotted and planned out and like put together in that way very specifically kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, with all of these groups, like, you know, and that work that goes into that is a lot, you know, especially with a group like this. Like, I feel like they're probably doing it live and nailing it out live before recording anything. Like,
right.
You know, not relying on overdubbing and studio
not
tricks.
re-recording and stuff like this.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, very cool. That's a very good point. I like it. All right, so but let's quickly move on.
Yeah.
2017, the very next year, they come up with another EP, Call of the Wild.
Right. Yeah.
And so this is kind of another situation where this band is coming out of the gates with a lot of good music, and they have some singles and they have some EPs, and a lot of that material that are singles and EPs eventually make it onto a LP, long play,
Right. Yeah.
full length album.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the same thing. Where I don't think we don't have a plan to play a song from this one because a lot of these songs are on the next album that we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
But good album, more good stuff. Like from their Viagra Boys perspective, they're just kind of going through the process of making more music and learning who they are as musicians and what they want to accomplish and stuff.
Yeah.
And they did another great job with this EP.
Yeah.
That's basically the story that I have on that EP.
Yeah.
Is that cool?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's just kind of move forward.
Yeah.
Because then very next year, 2018, their first full-length LP, we finally get to Streetworms.
Right.
So just very good stuff. They were signed with Year 001 Records. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Yeah.
Is that fair? I don't know if it's Year 1. Would you pronounce that, saying it out loud? It's spelled...
no, we're signed to Year 0001 Records.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, fine. That's why we're saying it. And I guess that's the same label as Swedish rapper Young Lean.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I don't really know. I'm not familiar with Young Lean.
No, I don't know either. I know, though, that I read this article recently, totally unrelated, but I think, like, there's a lot of, you wouldn't think it, but there's a lot of, like, hip-hop, Swedish hip-hop out there.
Okay.
And it's all kind of a little bit mainstream, and also there's a lot of, like, violence and sort of gang-related shit with it, and, like, people have been, like, famous Swedish rappers have been murdered and, like, high-profile fashion and stuff like that. I didn't know this, but there's a whole... as outsiders, we might think, oh, you know, Sweden is just like a peaceful country and like always on the top 10 lists of places to live in the world, or what the best country to live in the world and stuff like that. But they have a lot of these issues with like the young crowd out there.
Like gang issues?
Gang issues, yeah.
Interesting.
Knife violence and May even be gun violence out there as well. Yeah, it's crazy.
Hey, do it the American way.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. That's the thing. It's like insensitive. It happens every week here, which is terrible. But, you know.
Yeah, I mean, not joking. It sucks.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel good living here. And I don't know what we can do to help it. But if you guys have any ideas.
Mental health. We all got to look after our mental health.
Yeah.
I think maybe.
And nutrition.
And nutrition.
Like our bodies are temples and we need to take that seriously.
Yeah.
Our gut is our second brain.
Yeah.
Our nutrition is directly involved in making us how we feel.
Yeah.
You are what you eat.
Yeah.
We've heard it since we were kids.
Yeah.
It's that true, though. It's very important.
Yeah.
So with that said, we're talking about street worms, Viagra Boys. Real quick before we go any further, Jay, how did they get their name?
I don't know the actual origins of it, but
Nor do I, hence my question.
But I do know, I did read some articles about like, because a lot of their themes that they write about lyrically in Viagra Boys are to do with like, they didn't say toxic masculinity. Well, oh my God. Mm-hmm. But that's like a theme that runs through Idol's music. And it's also kind of a theme in Viagra Boys music as well. So like the name is kind of a nod to like, you know, oh, we're like these strong men that are doing this crazy music, but like Viagra is something you need to help you perform, kind of thing.
I see, yeah.
So it's like, when I first heard the name, you could think it's, oh, that's an offensive name or whatever. But when you think about it, it's actually like, oh, it's like showing a weakness kind of thing.
Right.
Like, you know. It's
No, that's a very good point.
Yeah. And I think, I haven't heard any of the band members say this, but knowing what they write about, and the journalist kind of like wrote in that way, that description, it makes sense. It's like a nod to this, like, like
being propped up by something, but not.
Yeah, like the male patriarchy, you know, we're like strong men, but we need to take this drug to actually like perform.
No, I mean, it's in that case, I didn't,
Yeah. That's what I
come
gather.
to that.
Yeah.
I didn't gather that myself, but now that you said that, it seems very like it's a great observation.
Yeah.
And it's cool how you can say a lot with just this short name.
And
we're speculating a little bit and based on what that name means.
And I think maybe that's intention as well, as with music and lyrics, like the meaning is in the eye of the beholder, right? Kind
Totally.
of thing. Like,
100%.
Intentionally, a lot of artists do this sort of thing to make you think. And yeah, it's like, of all band names, it is a very smart name if you think about it, I think. Because like,
I mean, it's very catchy, just brand name right off the bat, like Viagra Boys, that kind of, you know, everyone, I don't know, Viagra's kind of like a word that, like a trigger word.
Yeah, it is. It's like, okay.
Like it's a loaded word. Like, okay,
bit,
if you're talking about Viagra, you're talking about something more than just a pharmaceutical pill.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So there's something deeper there.
Yeah,
so interesting. But I like whether they came up with that for that purpose or not, it's a good name.
Yeah.
And it jumps out at anybody who's just reading or something like Viagra Boys.
Yeah. And and the first album, Street Worms, hypermasculinity and right-wing populism in Europe are like some themes in that.
Lyrically?
Yeah. But it's interesting because Sebastian has said that he is not a good political person. Like, he said he's on the left of politics, but he doesn't know how to sort of really like talk. You know, he's not the person to look to for like political,
like leadership.
Yeah, all that sort of stuff is how he says it. And when they were interviewed about this, it's like they were saying, it's not necessary to put this stuff in your music, but if it's going on in your life, then music reflects life, and you should put the music should always be natural and come out of you what's natural. But if these things are happening in your life and you're witnessing them and you want to say something about it, kind of thing, that's kind of how it happens for them, I think.
Right.
Like, and I know like Sebastian, when he said he writes lyrics, he always needs a theme. Like he says, he'll keep a whole bunch of notes in his phone, but he'll like, you know, like a theme of like resistance or whatever kind of thing. Like that would be the theme, and then he'd write lyrics around that theme of resistance. But it has to be something that's coming, that he's living through his life or has come from his life, kind of thing. So how am I feeling resistance, or what am I resisting to? And it's a really cool, interesting way of writing lyrics, because then it sort of opens up the ideas of like how you could phrase things, how you can
Yeah, like
put
really
things
just
together.
kind of reverse engineering, like how do I feel?
Yeah.
And how do I feel compared to this word?
Yeah.
Like where's my place with the definition of this
Yeah.
word or idea or phrase?
Yeah.
How does that make me feel? And what do I want to get out of that? How do I want to share that with others?
Yeah.
So that is really good.
Yeah.
For a songwriting perspective and a like philosophical or mental health perspective.
Yeah, I mean, you could even do that as a writing exercise, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I thought it was really interesting. That's like a major takeaway that I would put into this box of things that we need to compile from Roots to Grooves episodes of different techniques and things that artists use. I never really heard it this way before.
Yeah, actually, that's a great idea. We need to put together like a 10 commandments, list or something.
Yeah, we should do this. We should work on this. Yeah, because there's definite parallels and things like I think we said in different episodes that artists do.
Some consistencies that you can exploit for yourself.
There's like the consistencies, and then there's the specific things that each artist do, like little techniques, like we just said there, for writing. But yeah, like the grander ones of like everyone does an album, everyone goes on tour, everyone does, like, you know, rinse and repeat that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
no, it's a great idea, guys. Thank you. But yeah. So this is a good album.
Yeah.
I think Slow Learner was a good track off that, and it was featured on Tony Hawk Pro Skater series.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which I wasn't aware of, but I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, hypermasculinity, right-wing populism, and they're coming out, with these banging tracks, a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And this is where they kind of fully come into themselves, as a band and as artists with a full-length album's worth of music.
Yeah.
So very bombastic, very good.
Yeah.
Anything else on that album?
Only that, I mean, I think all of their albums are done in Stockholm at home. I mean, not at home. I think they go to an actual studio, but a lot of the people working on the tracks, like mixing and engineering, are all from Sweden as well. So it's a very like homegrown type of affair versus like going to LA and recording there or something like that. They're doing it all kind of grassroots, it sounds like. So
in 2019, they won the Independent Music Companies Association Album of the Year award. Quite the name, but they won that for Streetworms.
Yeah.
So just another level of them getting critical acclaim. I don't know. That's all I got on this one. And then on to Welfare.
Although there is one track actually, I think.
Are we going to play a track?
Well, no, one track that I wanted to mention, but Shrimp Shack is a track on here, track 6 off that album. And a lot of people journalists have written about shrimp stuff because he's like, and he's like, and he said he hates that song. It's like the only song he really hated. Because he was asked, like, what has the reaction been to the songs kind of thing. And he said, that was one track that apparently has become a fan favorite. And he said it was his most hated track because he didn't spend any effort on it, like, at all.
Man.
And so there's that track, Shrimp Shack. But also, the shrimp theme continues.
I was going to say, this guy talks about shrimp a lot.
Yeah. Where else have you seen the shrimp?
I mean, I'm just off my top, but I from based on reading and stuff, it's come up in different songs.
Okay.
Just like different.
There you go. Yeah. I'm not sure what he means. I haven't really listened deeply to his shrimp lyrics.
I wasn't really going to bring it up because I didn't know enough about it.
But I do know, though, that they... And here's... Well, are we ready for another sort of interesting big takeaway artist-wise sort of thing?
Yes. Jay's on fire today.
The band, Viagra Boys, have a company they're all co-owners of. And it's called Shrimp Tech Enterprises. This is a real company, Shrimp Tech Enterprises.
Okay, I'm listening.
But the real reason for doing it is that every band actually needs a company to consolidate all of their activities under. So if you're releasing records and getting money from that, and you're going on tour and getting money from that, all the money comes through to their company and then is divided equally between all the band members, kind of thing.
That seems like a great idea.
Which I've heard a lot about, and I think it's something that's not really mentioned a lot publicly.
How many artists would you say do that in general?
All of them, I would say. Yeah.
All the major artists that we all know, you'd say have a company.
Yeah. Because I know like a lot of managers, like professional managers, that's what they'll do. Because, an artist manager will take 15% commission on all activities. And the way they make this happen is they form a company they're 15% shareholder in this company, and then the band members, however they want to split that up between them, whether it's equally or someone gets more percentage than the other for doing more work, is on that company as well. And then everyone can see visibly where all the money's at. Anyone can check the books, anyone can see where the money's come in, what's been spent on what kind of thing.
It's all accounted for.
Yeah, it's all transparent, and all at the end of the day, so everyone can get paid. So the manager can get his 15%, he or her 15%, and the band members can get their cut after everything.
That's very cool.
So yeah, I think every artist does this, and you can call it whatever you want. They could have called it Viagra Boys, but maybe the Swedish government wouldn't let them put Viagra. I don't know. Instead,
or Viagra, the brand is
exactly.
Maybe don't use our name that we
patented,
have copyrighted
that name. Yeah, so surprising they can use it actually in the band name. To be honest with you, but because I think it is a copyrighted name, isn't it?
I think
Viagra.
There's some rule that differentiates if you're in a different sector of the industry or whatever, because there's
they're not selling drugs, they're selling music.
No, exactly.
Music is a drug.
But they wouldn't be able to say Viagra Boys on a pill if they came out with a pill under their company.
Right.
Probably.
Yeah.
That's why there's Apple, computers and stuff, and there's Apple label, the music label.
Yeah. Although I read about this recently, Apple have been going after music artists for having Apple in
they are now still?
Yeah. I think I might have mentioned this on a previous episode. There was one artist that was called Pineapple something, and Apple sued her. And she was like, well, I guess I have to change my name then because I can't fight a legal case from this multi-billion-dollar company.
No way.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem okay.
No, it doesn't. Especially because, Apple did this whole agreement with the Beatles in order to use the name.
Yeah.
Originally, that agreement was that Apple would never go into music. And they ended up going into music.
Little
with
shiesty.
iTunes and all that. So
interesting. It's a little hairy.
Yeah, but it's their lawyers, the corporate lawyers, right? They're doing proactive brand protection shit or whatever. But then crazy shit happens, like you're suing someone with pineapple in the name, because that's a bit weird. Right?
That's a bit much.
Especially if they're an artist, a music.
That seems a little bit predatory or just a little much. Just run your business and let this artist make their art under the name Pineapple.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is that okay? Jeez.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm gonna throw my laptop away.
Yeah, Jesus.
I'm just kidding. I love Macintosh.
Macintosh. Yes. Anyway,
I love you.
Street Worm. We moved on from that. We played a few songs from that tonight already.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
I would say start with this album if you're just looking into Viagra Boys.
Yeah.
Off the cusp. Then we go on to Welfare Jazz.
Yeah.
Which I think is even another step up for them in their kind of musicality.
Yeah.
Adding some synths. There's still a lot of lazy deadpan vocals, lazy guitar, sour leads. That's what I'm saying. Kind of the lead stuff is really grimy or stylistic.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Stands out though. It's biting.
Yeah.
Droning bass, that fuzzy bass.
Yeah.
Sluggish pace. Kind of these looping things at the end of the song we played last. Just kind of it kind of drones on.
Yeah.
And really feels like you're, kind of getting glued down.
Yeah.
A little bit. And then it's kind of overall apocalyptic, I wrote down as well. It's just kind of, it sounds, postmodern.
And there's a couple of weird interludes in the album as well, right?
Well, the second song on the album has it's a saxophone solo that's the only thing playing is the saxophone solo, basically.
Yeah. 30 seconds long. Yeah.
And I guess that's their new sax guy, Oscar Carls.
Yeah, it's more featured on this album than their previous stuff.
Yeah.
A lot more experimental things on this album. A little rough around the edges, psychedelic-y.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. The album artwork though is all Sebastian.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, apparently, crazy little story. There's if you get the vinyl, I think there's a gatefold or something that opens, or another side of the vinyl packaging that has this painting. I'll put it up now, and it's this weird cowboy character, like touching a paw of a dog kind of thing.
Okay.
He painted all of this. He said he was inspired by some random YouTube channel from some Swedish woman who was kind of like hippie-ish, but also talking about conspiracy theories about like how COVID isn't a thing and how people need to stay away from 5G, like cell phone shit. And then he said he went onto her website and she had all these different services she was offering. And one thing was something to do with like dog zone treatment or something like that. And he said she had a photo of like her fingers touching a dog's paw or something. For some reason, this image stuck with him. And that was like what formed the basis of this painting that's on video screen right now, but also part of the packaging. And he said after he did that, he used the same colors to like write the album title Jazz Welfare out. And he said he kept spelling it wrong. But he like had this piece of paper and he showed it to the rest of the band members and they were like, that should be the album cover. So
okay.
like,
So because I was going to touch on this because the album came out in 2021 and the regular full-length album Welfare Jazz has, I think, that featured artwork. Where it's like it's like a white background with just writing over and over jazz welfare. So like jazz wealth air, like it's like off. It's weird. So just a bunch of letters on a white background, basically. But for the deluxe edition of the album, where this really cool painting is featured. Right. And I think this painting is, I don't know. I think it's much cooler than on the regular Welfare Jazz album. Right. But it's very cool. It's got like kind of pink and orange, blue and red coloring. Yeah. I don't know if it's acrylic or what, but it looks like a cool painting. I really like it. Yeah. It is kind of creepy. It's like this creepy like the guy in this picture who's touching this dog paw it looks like a Picasso type painting. Like things are in a weird place. I don't know. It's interesting painting, but it's very cool.
I would describe it as like grotesque, maybe.
Okay.
I know that's an art term, but this is actually, for me, the word grotesque also makes you feel a little bit uneasy. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not gross, but it does make you feel uneasy. Like it's a little, like almost uncanny valley. Yeah. Like, cause it's not a real person. It's obviously like a caricature type character. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, but I would suggest taking a look at it. We brought it up on the screen, so I guess you guys already saw it. It's very cool. Yeah. That's all I got on it. Check out the deluxe edition. I guess there's some extra songs on there. Yeah. Then after that, they came out with the Shrimp Sessions. Right. Which is a live album. Yeah. I guess it's the second one. It says the second one, but that also came out in 2021. Right.
Should we play a track off Welfare Jazz?
We definitely should. I think we have one loaded up for it, right?
Creatures. Yes.
Yeah.
Creatures by Viagra Boys from their second album, Welfare Jazz, which came out in 2021. They said they finished it a year before the release, though.
During pandemic.
Yeah. So I think another delayed release because of the pandemic.
Really like that track.
Yeah, it's different as well.
That synthy aspect. Yeah. Just kind of bopping and driving along. Yeah. Very good energy.
Reminds me of David Byrne a little bit, Talking Heads.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Some new wave stuff again.
Yeah.
For sure.
But yeah.
But still grimy and...
Yeah.
No, chaos. Like
just
the vibrations just melding in with one another and just...
Yeah.
Chaos. Exactly. They're good. I love that track. I love that synth sound.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Good album. Welfare Jazz. And then, the other reason, if we're moving on from this album...
That's all I got.
That I mention them is because they have a new album coming out. And as of our recording right now, it's not out. But you know when it's released, Jesse? Tomorrow. So
is it tomorrow?
Yeah. I was like, shit, we should have... it's literally like at midnight. It will be out probably.
We could have recorded this tomorrow.
We could have recorded this tomorrow and then we would have heard it.
Damn.
But
today being the 7th of July.
This recording date, yeah. So by the time you're hearing and watching this episode, you can check out the new album, Cave World, which is out now everywhere. We do have a track though that will play out that is from this album, Ain't No Thief, which they released. They released a couple of singles so far.
Ain't No Thief. And the one thing I was going to say, this latest album is called, what is it called? Cave?
I think Cave World.
Cave World. Because we're going to play Ain't No Thief, which is a good track that ended up on the album. They came out with another single of 2 songs with Ain't No Thief on it. and another song called Troglodyte.
Right.
Troglodyte being, the definition of that word is a person who lives in a cave.
Okay.
So I thought I would drop that knowledge on all of you before we played that track.
There you go.
And they had one more single called Punk Rock Loser in 2022.
Yeah. So all of these are on the new album. So at least we get a taster.
Yeah.
So far.
But that brings us right up to date. We got their new album out. And
Yeah.
we're going to play one track from that.
One thing I wanted to say before we close out, though, is that what's interesting to me is a lot of these guys still have day jobs other than being in Viagra Boys.
Yeah, do you know anything about that? I should have gone more into that.
Only I know that Sebastian is a tattoo artist. Like he still does that.
I forgot to mention that. I had that in my notes. I thought a couple of them were tattoo artists. Was it?
I think so, yeah. And then someone's a chef, another guy's a carpenter. He said the couple of guys that work in Swedish government.
Okay. So we got,
and some that work in the music business. Yeah.
we got some blue collar workers, some white collar workers.
It's interesting to me. And another maybe takeaway, it's like that you can have this music career and go do all of this stuff, but you can also do something else in life. you
Right.
know? And I say that in a nicer way. I'm saying like, oh, you're not making enough money out of music to have it as your career kind of thing. But also, like, maybe we should all be at peace as musicians with the fact that it's okay to not make your living out of music. Like,
Yeah.
You know, as long as you're maybe creating the work that you want to create and you're able to play it and maybe have fun going on tour, see the world kind of thing. But, like, you don't have to put the pressure on yourself to, like, make a living out of this. Like, when you see guys like Viagra Boys who, like, on the surface are just as successful as any other group we've seen, go on these major tours. Coachella, they played Coachella this last year.
Huge.
Apparently,
It's huge.
Apparently, it was one of the best reviewed performances of the whole.
That's right.
Festival. It went viral or something like that. But these guys still have day jobs, like when they're back home in Sweden, like doing other things.
That's good to know. I think it's a testament to like finding love in the process of becoming something, not the end goal.
Right.
Like, oh, once I play Madison Square Garden, I'll feel like a real musician, and I'll tell my parents I made it.
Right.
And I'll go retire.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But it's more like I love playing shows to just 10 people who don't know who I am. And like, I love making music by myself with my buddies. I love putting this album out. I love putting this love into this community.
Yeah.
Building a community. So I think it's all about the process.
Yeah.
And, you know, like you said, I don't know, if we can put those two and two together, fall in love with the process, you can't go wrong. And you can do multiple things in your life, like be a chef and a musician.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
anyway, that's all I got.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely good. Yeah, the process of writing, playing, putting stuff out there, expressing yourself.
Have goals into the future, but don't feel the need to get to those goals in order to feel happy.
Yeah.
When you're happy with the process, you fall in love with the process, then you could just allow yourself to be happy throughout every day. And that feels much better than waiting for some goal that may never happen. You know,
I think that's the best way to end this episode. Then that's like some words of wisdom from Jesse right there. Like,
hey, I'm just piggybacking off what you said, Jay.
Oh, cool.
We're here to learn and we're here to grow. If you guys got any more comments, concerns, or cool stories about Viagra or the Viagra Boys, hit us up at the email, Jay.
Roots to Grooves at signalradio.com, SIGNL radio.com.
So quit bitching, motherfucker. motherfucker. Look, I ain't no thief. I ain't no thief. I said I ain't no thief. Same stuff, motherfucker. I recall buying this exact writer when I was 15 years old. My grandpappy gave it to me as a present because I had just finished Boy Scout training. And he was so proud of me that he decided to create this lighter in the exact same image of yours.
Roots to Grooves is a production of Signl Radio. For more music and independent culture, visit signalradio.com. That's signl radio.com.